Oh, bonjour. Oh, bonjour. We are listening to KBFT 89.9 FM, bringing to you the Karen Drift Anishinaabemoin language radio show right here on KBFT. And it's a show where we discuss the original language spoken by the original people of this area of Turtle Island, as we call it, North America. And we are set. I do believe we're ready to go. We have our Facebook Live rolling, and you're welcome to join us on there. I know we have a chat that's available. You can reach out that way. Otherwise, if you have any questions, you can certainly either text 218-248-0167, or you can actually call. Usually we give away a prize during this time, and we'll keep you informed of when that's going to happen. But you can participate by, like I said, you can either text or get in on our Facebook feed. Hopefully everything is wired up properly. If not, let us know. Sometimes I worry about the audio coming in over the Facebook. But let's see. We are ready to roll here. We usually start out, well, let me give you an update on the weather here. The weather is, we're sitting at 50 degrees currently in Nett Lake. A little bit cool out there. Bungi Gisana?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so we're a little bit cool out there. Let's see here. Today calls for your Thursday, a chance for scattered rain showers, otherwise cloudy. Highs level off around 60. Northwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Your chance of precip is 90%. Precipitation amounts up to almost a quarter of an inch is possible. So yeah, it was nice rain coming from Vermilion this morning, and it was nice, yeah. And let's see, Thursday night for tonight calls for overnight lows approaching 39 under overcast skies with scattered rain showers likely. So the rain's going to continue. Northwest winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Your chance of precipitation is 60%. Precip amounts amount to a tenth of an inch as possible. And then for tomorrow, your Friday, your high temperatures reach up to 63 under clearing skies with a chance for scattered rain showers early. And then, of course, that Saturday is looking really good. So stand by for that. In the meantime, we're going to get you rolling here with the Karen Drift Anishinaabemoin show. And we start off by doing our introductions. Mishkubanes Indigenous Migizi Nindun Dame Onanami Zaagi'igining Indunjaba and Nanamidna Nanan Babunigiz Ni Babunigiz Miigwech Bizendawi.
Miigwech Biskuk Bines Miigwech Nukumis Indigenous Asabikone zaagi'igining Dunjaba. Me ill. That's all I'm gonna say this morning. Nemanandam nungum. I'm sad today. Nemanandam means I'm sad. I'm sad. Manandam. And well, the reason I'm sad is I lost my good friend last night, Mizanobi Tum. We grew up together. We're in the same grade. We just grew up as young kids. His best friend was my husband Lester. They were best friends all through the years, and I was right with them. Not till later, but when we were little, we used to all play together. And he was a fluent speaker. Perry got us on tape on April 1st, talking a language at the language table with Jay Strong's show, and him and Squeak and Floyd happened to be down at the lunchroom eating, and Perry asked me to ask Jones. That was his nickname, Jones, but that was his middle name, and we all knew him by Jones. And then Mizanobi Tongue was his Indian name. But he got us talking on the whatever that is at the microphone, or got us talking back and forth in our language. And that was the last talk. I was going to go see him when I heard, but I didn't make it there yesterday. And then the last thing I heard was Ogigiwe to become. He went home last night. But he's the one that gave my grandson an Indian name, Anthony. So that was Anthony's way. He gave him the name of Papa Kinagishik. That means the lightning or thunder crackling. How that sounds when that's the name he gave Anthony. So, but now one of our fluent speakers, elders, teacher, he knew a lot. I wish more people would have went to visit him when he was well. But just like today, they don't go visit their elders or find out what happened long time ago. But yesterday, Bijinago, that means yesterday, I had a real good time. A young mother came to see me the other day and gave me some tobacco. And she said, could you come up and talk to the Boys and Girls Club? And I said, yeah. I said, yeah, I can. So she gave me the tobacco. And when they give you tobacco, that's a promise that you're going to be up there when, like you told them to. So yesterday I went up there at 3 o'clock and talked to. There's quite a few kids up there. But anyway, I liked the way the ladies did this. They had like a big fish bowl, and they had questions in there, and each one of the kids pulled out a question to ask, like, what kind of toys did you have when you were a kid? What did you eat? They asked, describe old ways and lifestyles of the tribe. And they said, on the difference between then and now, focus on the difference between then and now. And that included food, daily activities, transportation, housing. And it said, bring any objects or pictures to show the difference between then and now. I bought a game yesterday to show them, and I showed them how I was playing. I told them how we dressed when we had to wear skirts for a long time. We never wore pants, I told them. And we right now, I said, we have statues in our yard. Like, I have a teepee in the back of my yard, or you could put rocks or feathers, show that there's a Anishinaabe living there. And then somebody asked about the foods. I said, the only kind, we never had hot dogs or French fries or pizza or any of this kind of food you eat today. I said, we ate wild game, we ate wild meat and all that stuff. I said, and they asked about berries. I said they would dry the berries and they said, what's the difference between then and today? I said, well, today now you have everything. I said, you can go switch a light on, you have electricity, you have X games you can play now. They asked, what did you do for? I said, from the time we woke up in the morning, had our zaagi'igining. I said, we go play outside, and we'd play all day. We'd be outside it was nice out. We'd be down by the lake. We'd be digging holes to make clay. We'd make clay things. Somebody made couple of rafts down at the lake where we swim. We'd go climbing trees. Oh, there was all kinds of stuff. We never had toys like they have today, I was telling them. And, and they all were sitting there just really paying attention. And then they were asking, uh, what other kinds of games you played in the winter. Like I said, we didn't have sleds. We slid on old paper boxes or whatever we could find. I said we never had, and then we never wore jeans or like like the men do. I said everybody wore dresses up until I was like seventh grade and got in seventh grade, and people start wearing. A long time ago, I noticed my mom used to wear jeans after, and but then I noticed too when she was wearing dresses all the time, then everything slowly turned into different ways of dressing. And that's what I was telling them kids. We can't, we change every day. Every day there's a new change. And I was talking to them about cans. Some of you older ones must remember cans, ones you wear under your skirt where they make it really flary, and they were really. I was telling him I had a blue one, and my cousin Clara had a pink can. We'd trade each other, and just to wear different colors. But that's the way it was. Nowadays it's but that's the first time a mother came and asked me to do this for kids. And that shows me that shows me that things are changing, like changing some, like they want to they want their kids to learn the old ways and from what it was last time and what it how they how they how they ate, and they asked me what I ate. Did I have candy? I said the only thing that we had sweet was maple sugar. They'd make maple sugar cakes, and then we go. We never had Halloween trick or treating when we were till we went to school. Then we had trick or treating or whatever. But when we were smaller, we at New Year's time we'd go visit the elders, shake hands with the elders, and then they'd give us like an apple or sugar cake. And that was a good thing we used to do. And then I was telling them I was telling him at yesterday at the Boys and Girls Club that it seemed like it seems like everybody's scared to use their language. I don't know if they don't the words sound funny to them, or they're afraid they're going to make a mistake, or they're going to, say something wrong. But I know Indians are different than other races, like the whites and the colored and the, them kind. But we all have different, like how the Indians were. Um, I think the number one thing about Indians is uh, is what was I thinking of now? Fear, fear and shame. I think they're the first two, and shame, like fear of, like I said, when nobody wanted to go to school when and from Strongville they'd be kicking and screaming to, that was fear. I think that was fear that they were going to never come back once they were taken, and same thing with the old people. I remember when a caseworker would come every month on a Thursday to visit my mom because she was on welfare. And when my grandma knew she was coming, she'd come at the same time Thursday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And my grandma would take me up to. We had trails and there was no roads, so we go through the trail all the way up, walk up to Sock's lady's place, and my grandma would go visit for an hour. I used to sit and listen to them talk, and my grandma and two other ladies. And then after about an hour, we'd come back home, and that her name was Miss G, that caseworker. Then when we come back, she'd be gone. And I seen her once. I seen that caseworker once. But like me, I went and hid. You know, that must have been it. Just some kind of genes we have in the Indian, or Indian that we're afraid of. We're afraid, and our parents, our grandparents mainly, are because of what they went through with the school board era, removal from homes, reservations to attend schools about shame, not allowed to speak our language. And that's trust, and their trust is very low. And well, some don't trust at all. And then their fear of social workers and retaliation. They're scared of that. And suicide rate still very high on some reservations. On some, we haven't had any for a long time over here. About in the 60s, we used to have kind of a high rate. Now it's maybe it's because how they. I talked to the kids about yesterday about somebody asked, they each had. I like that what the ladies did over there. They had each one of them ask me a question, and some of them were really. And then this what was on something about suicide, and uh, I was telling them about the eagle feathers. When you're first born, you're in the bottom, and they come see you, an old man or an old lady, but you don't remember what they said to you. And anyway, I said they tell you how your path of life is going to be like. Say at the bottom you start out, you're a baby, you're born, then you go up and up on that straight line of the feather. You go in your toddler, then you're like first grade to probably fifth. Then when you're sixth, you're way up more, and then say you start not behaving. I said you start drinking alcohol, smoking, smoking cigarettes. I said, and just raising Cain. I said to people, and I said, you go off this feather, you go on the side until you're well again, and you get help out there, then you go on again, you go on to the straight, and then say, when that old person told you your life, he'll tell you when you're going to pass away. You're going to pass away when you're maybe 90, they'll say 90 years old, and but you don't listen. You don't listen to what the people tell you, and you can end up committing suicide. Say like you're 15, 16, maybe 20, 21, and you were supposed to live until you were 90, in, but you went and did that, and they used to tell us that your soul, what comes out of your body when you pass away, it'll it'll be circling around until you become that age, and then you will go up to where you're supposed to belong. And that's what I was telling. I always tell all my kids that.
Yeah, I think for for a lot of people out there, what the Auntie's talking about is that historical trauma, that's handed down through generations. And I know there's what do you call it? There's teachings that go along with that, and what we're trying to do is trying to heal from a lot of that and tear down those things that we learned through our
I'm on a radio.
upbringing, and so we're on the comeback, and we're trying to instill. I think what Auntie's trying to say is we're trying to instill some pride in our language, use of our language, and as a young kid learning out there, or anybody in the community shouldn't be ashamed of that, because it's not. I know it's still early in the healing process, but there's people out there that do seem genuinely concerned, and it's something that I don't really think there's a what do you call it, a buzz movement, or just something that's temporary. But there's a lot of inflow right now in programs for language revitalization, and it's sad. Another point that she was making, that we're losing our elders and are losing our fluent speakers. It's too bad that a lot of this didn't happen in the 20s. That they understood the how precious, how important our language was. As far as our identity, and of course, in those times they were trying to change all of the Indians, and their philosophy was, kill the Indian and save the man. Basically meaning take the culture away, take the language away, and all of that. So there was a lot of that policy that went on, and it's just amazing that Indian people are still here. Some people might. Well, what I mean by Indian people is traditional people. They wanted all of us to let go of the reservations, to kind of integrate into modern American society, and that's how they incentivized our people to move into these cities and stuff. Not that there was really anything of their own doing, especially now there's probably like 2 generations removed. But, to come back around and to learn your language, and to not be able or not be afraid to talk, and be able to make mistakes. I think that's what Auntie's trying to say, is that you got to be more open to it. And of course, if you're listening to somebody that's just learning, in the past, there was a lot of people that would say, hey, that's not the way you say that, and that's fine, but if you're going to say that and try to be critical about it, then, what's important is that you do a teaching with that, that you let them listen to how it's said, and maybe give a little bit explanation of why it's said differently. One of the things I saw was Happy Mother's Day. James Vukovic got online, and I can't remember how he said it, but it wasn't anywhere close to what what I thought it would be, and I would like to know why it's said in that manner, just the way that it, because I mean, Gija Gut is still there, but just the first part of it, I didn't understand, or I never heard before. So those kind of things I would like to know, especially if I'm talking from something that's going to happen in the future, something that happened to somebody else, or something that happened to me, versus, whether it happened last night, the week before. There's all little nuances to the language. And I know a lot of it has to do with your ear and just making things flow, because sometimes it's hard to follow one rule when, you run into a situation where, there's a knee. I don't know if there's a knee. Well, yeah, there is a knee. That's a man, right? Inini. But if you're talking like in your first person, like ni mama, that's your mother, or my mother. But those are the kind of things that we need to kind of differentiate, and a lot of learners need to help, or they need help understanding it. So that's why I say be patient with one another. We're all learning a part of this, that maybe not come right out and say, oh, let me help you, instead of that's wrong. We got enough people out there that tell us what's wrong, and that's probably learned from the dominant society, which is, of course, the modern world, and the people that are the architects of that. And like I said, it was just something that their policy has been to kind of integrate us and find ways to get us off this land. If you really look at it across Indian country, the reason why they want us off this land is because there's a majority, a percentage of resources that are out there, especially as it relates to today. You'll find a lot of this lithium, you'll find a lot of this, well, of course, they already found uranium, but a lot of this stuff that powers today's technology, today's weapons, today's, so that's the reason why they wanna integrate us. They want us to move off the reservation, or wanted us to move off the reservation, especially the water resources, the timber, all of that stuff in the past, and now that they've, we're on our second growth as far as our lumber is concerned, there's not much money in it anymore. And so that's why you're seeing a lot of this land being, I guess, returned to tribal status. And so, the values come out of it. I would even say the radio itself. We just finally got radio within the last 10 years as far as tribes in Minnesota. Why? I always go back to this, because there's no money in it. We're not going to make millions of dollars. We just ended up selling WELY as the Bois Forte band. And so I'm going to get off myself. But just wanted everybody to know, a little bit of the history and about the historical trauma, and, about people and their self-confidence, and people that, are people feeling like they belong. And we have to do it together. We have to love one another, and we have to bring one another along. And so, instill in your kids. I know there's still a lot of learned behavior that's out there from dominant society, let's call it. At least that's a term I grew up with Larry Aiken and all the UMD professors down there. So even if my lingo is a little dated, but that's basically how I describe um, um, what America is nowadays. So um, take pride in yourself. Take pride in your neighbor. Take pride in your nation. You know, and that'll lead to everything else. I mean, that'll bring you along. Not only that, it'll help you heal. It's a real powerful um, set of values that you're going to learn from all of this. And you know what it does? It helps you forgive. It'll help you forgive this world, you know, this modern world or whatever it is, and help you understand why it is things are the way they are and how you fit into it. So I hope.
You know, I think what I think is like Indians, they don't like to go for help. They don't like to, like, they say, oh, you better go see this guy about your anger management or something. And the Indian men won't. They won't. They don't. I don't know why, but uh, I know when my husband died, Mark took me to Virginia to go with this grief counseling. It was, and I was the only Indian there, and there was four uh, non-native. There was just four Wemtigushi, Quayog, and Miatukuni, and one Indian. And I they grieve differently than Indians do, because I the first meeting I didn't agree with what I didn't tell him. I just listened, and I told him some of how I was grieving, and but I didn't go back there again a second time. You know, maybe if there was all Indians there, all Indian people that were grieving, then we'd get something. We'd get something out of that. But you know, it's just what how would I say this, like uh, too mixed, like you, and that's what the kids said at, how come we can't have all Indian teachers, you know, and it ain't that they didn't like their teachers, it's just that they probably, you know, could understand better with them being taught by an Indian, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But like this, and they asked me how, like yesterday, they asked me how I said, well, I learned from my grandma, my aunts, my uncles, my grandma, my grandpa, and my grandma and grandpa learned from theirs. I said it went way back, way back. I said, and then each time somebody, you know, their grandkids come, they they teach them what they learned. I said, that's how I just didn't pick this up, you know, like the stories about the feather, the eagle feather, and all these stories about the birds and the animals. I said, um, there we have a different teaching than non-Indians. I said, and they have, you know, they have their own teachings. I said so, but I was just trying to show you uh, how how uh, how we, like they said, what did you live in? I said I lived in a log house, but before that, I said before my grandma and them, they lived in teepees. My grandma's grandma or my grandma's grandma had lived in teepees. I said, and my grandma and grandpa built log houses, so that's what we lived in. I said we never lived in teepees. I told them, but then they asked me, about the food I ate, the toys I played with, and how we were. If I said if say if my mother and her sister, I said say if one of my mother's sister died giving childbirth, and I said and that baby would be by himself. I said so. What they would do is they'd have my mother take the child and bring it up as her own. I said because in the Indian way, I said sisters are all cousins are brother and sisters. Yeah, I said it. And I said like Shane, um, I would be like his mother in the Indian way, and and it just goes that way. I was telling him now. Nobody knows. Only a few know that and it it's probably gonna end pretty soon, and nobody will know. Maybe a few will know, and then on this thing it says alcoholism and drug abuse run rampant on all reservations. That's true, all reservations. Loss of identity. We were once all proud nations. Racism in school and socially, racism is still very high. Education, very high dropout rates on reservation. It's getting better though, the education. I talked to some lady and she said in 2019 it was what did she say? Some 70%. She said in 22 it was 100%. So that tells me that it's getting better. The dropout rate in employment, low income jobs on each reservation. I don't think that's seem like they don't low income jobs on each reservation, even for those with college degrees or special. Are they still paying high like for a college degree?
Not really. That's one of the things I think that our government here is looking into. But on par, I would probably say, I know my colleagues are making probably up to 20-25% more. And so, that's something I can back up with some data. But it's always the thing, the excuse. I always call it the excuse that, you're working on a reservation. There's not money to be made here, that type of thing. And, I would probably even say some old time, I don't know, I call it just thinking about who has and who hasn't come into play too, so there's that has to be dealt with. But all in all, I mean, it's a great place to work, if you're on a reservation. It's always good people, good-hearted people. You'll always find some humor and a lot of forgiveness, and I encourage a lot of people from outside, especially to come back from. That's what you were talking about earlier about school, and finding the value in that. If they're not paying our graduates enough, they're gonna go elsewhere. Like I know we've lost some people because of the pay scale. We couldn't pay them enough, and so that's one of the things I think that we got to value here is especially our own graduates. If they're out there and they put in the work, made it, graduated, and are looking for a place to either gain experience or whatever, and if somebody's a superstar, a rock star, and you can't pay them what they're getting offered elsewhere, at least you're paying an equal scale. You know what I mean? Here, and if they need to go for better opportunity, more power to them. Um, so there's all that kind of stuff. I always believe that if you had your education paid by the res, that you should come back in some way and be of service to the people. And I always have that feeling in my heart. It's like, yeah, there is plenty of opportunity that are out there. I probably could be somewhere out in Asia working for some big, multinational company, doing a lot of this relationship, um, where there's other indigenous people around the world,
Yeah.
and how the companies can work with them to better manage their resources and that. Those are the kind of opportunities that are out there. And they want people that have this connection to the land. And of course, that's something that they don't have as part of their culture. And so they want to hire people like that, and they're willing to pay them, to go out there and help them, just so they're not being like they are in Brazil, where they're destroying the water, destroying the land, and just I mean, when they see them dollars in their eyes, I mean, it's really hard to persuade them otherwise, to say, hey, listen, you got to think about your generations ahead. You got to think about your young people. You got to think about, how you're going to, the land is going to provide like it always has. We're used to that, and living with our lands. But those kind of things are valuable qualities, I think, that make our people very marketable out there.
I was just thinking about a long time ago when Sunson was in the 10th grade. Mitz was on the school board then, and I can't remember what it was about, but they invited him to a school board meeting. He was like in the 10th or 11th grade, I think 10th grade. So he went to that school board meeting, and he was a talker. He spoke up and said what he wanted to say. He said it anyway. She told me later, when I didn't go, but he went there with all the school board members, and she said I was just proud of him. He spoke up, and I noticed after that when he got older, he ended up being successful. Like, he had his own business, and plus he signed up for school board, and he was on school board in Michigan for years. And right now what they're doing for my granddaughter and the kids that just finished college, they got 20 spaces for them. They're finding out what they like to do. Like my granddaughter likes, she's like an artist, and so they're finding her a job on a reservation that's like what drawing or whatever. And there's other kids there that are going to work the summer, and they're going to do jobs that they're going for in college, or that they're doing now, that they did.
Yep.
She finished her first year in Michigan, so she'll be working there. That's what, like, young kids like Anthony. I see. What's that boy's name? He's a secretary. Angelo.
Oh yeah.
He's secretary at RTC, and that Warren's son is working with Janice at the water. Then Anthony up here. So there's 3 young people that are like, they seem like to me like they're in training.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what they should do for more. I see Monique at the Boys and Girls Club, and that's good. There's young people. I don't know them other ones. There's another young girl there working. I don't know if that's Angeline or in Danelle. They're all young people working, and they should train more, train more.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, it's important, as far as education goes, because one of the things I realize is that, yeah, going to college is a good thing, but that's not everything. You can go out and get a trade, go out and learn how to weld. You can go out and learn how to be a pipe fitter. You can learn a steel worker, carpentry. All of that. It's going to provide you. It's going to provide you a decent living.
Yeah.
So, anything is good, and that I think that's one thing that we really need, especially entrepreneurs, people that start their own business like Lesh, little Lester. And that's all that really takes is that experience and having that confidence to go out there and do what you do.
Yeah.
So
I asked Anthony, what else do you like to do? Do you like to fix cars, or do you like to cook, or
fixing cars is okay when you're young, but when you get to be old, you get tired of scarring up your hands.
Yeah. Or and that's what Lester was saying. His dad used to tell him, go to school, get an education, or you'll be working out in the winter in the woods somewhere.
Yeah.
Cold, and where you get an education, you could be working inside and being warm.
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially when you get older. I know, like our guy here, Dale. That's what he was a steel worker. All of his young life, and now that he's up there and getting up there in age, now he's sitting behind the desk, helping us out. So that's awesome. That there's opportunities like that, and that you can move into two different kind of trades, and so that's the best advice is just find a little niche, like Anthony. He can do any kind of art, you can do that on the side, where they call that your side hustle, so whatever in the internet just makes it possible that people can find you right here in the village. I know Chesty does quite a bit of stuff. He's very entrepreneur like, and it's good to see that he's got that confidence, to put his artwork out there and to put it on blast, as far as his design work. So more power to everybody out there. I know there's more in the community. You guys keep on keeping on, I guess. Yeah. Make it all happen.
Then another thing, what I think is good about our village, or our Shunigan, is we're living kind of far back. We ain't in a big busy town with, we're far from Highway 53, where people in Bemidji or wherever there's big towns close to them where there's a lot of crime, and we're put way back here in the woods, and there's and I noticed a lot of people came back from the cities, especially the older age, like Maribel's back. She was in the city. Tick was in the city. She's back, and Tico, she was there. She's back. So there's a lot of. Rose was in Alaska. She's back home. Yeah, they always end up coming back home to the old reservation, and that's what I was telling my cousin. He lives in Minneapolis. He's always wanted to move back to the res. I said that's a good place to be back, as when you learn your language and learn your own Indian ways. I said, when you come back to the res, I said that, and that's what he said, that he wants to live a quiet life. In this only 44.9 years average life of an American Indian. How do you think that is today? that rate for you, the average life of an American Indian. It was only 44.9 years average life. Now, you think it's getting better, or
I think we're making little steps, but I'm trying to think of exactly how many um, men that I grew up with. I don't think we've lost too many of the girls that I grew up with, but we certainly have lost like about 5 or 6 out of maybe 9. And it's just me, Frank, and I'm trying to think of who else. Oh, Tony, and that I graduated with that are Native American. We lost Tyke, Dion, Myron. Oh no, Jim is still alive too. Jimmy Boger. Um, so yeah, I don't know if we're making any headway because they were all young men when they passed. And of course, I had my heart attack, my heart attack too when I was 47. So there's a lot of health issues that are there, and it's not because of anybody's choice or bad choices. It's just trying to make it or trying to live in this type of world, because we're not that far removed from our own traditional diets and our own traditional way of life. It's only been what 120 years since the turn of the century, and so you probably had maybe about 4 generations since. So we're it's like any place. They're eating McDonald's, and we got candy. It's really hard just to find something that doesn't have like the maximum sugar it can actually have without tasting bad. I'm always thinking, leave that donut alone. You don't have to put glaze all over it and sprinkles and whatnot. Just give me a donut.
I know that's what I do now. If I eat a piece of cake, I take the frosting.
The frosting right off, yeah.
But out of all the people I grew up with in the same, there's only 3 of us left, and that's me, Elaine Tibbetts, and William O'Leary. They used to call him Toonie.
Mm-hmm.
And this 3 of us Jones, he just left yesterday, so he was in our age.
Mm-hmm.
So now there was 2 men and 2. It seemed like the men are going faster than
A little
the
bit
women.
faster, yeah.
Yeah.
Because all them guys that we lost, they were all in their 40s, early 50s, I believe.
And then reservation urban for American Indians. Many from Nett Lake have moved to the Twin Cities, but it seemed like the older ones are moving back, not the young ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a lot of relatives that are in the cities that are young, that are still young yet, like my grandkids, and then my cousins, the Gijiks, in assimilation. Some Indians have identified with the African American culture, music, fashion, and mannerisms. They act like somebody else. There's a lot of that with the Indians because I think they're lost. They really don't know because they were never brought up on a reservation or by other Indian families, so they don't really know. Treaties, most have been broken repeatedly, broken and rewritten. Trust, that's one of the biggest ones. We cannot and will not trust the white population.
And that's because all of them treaties were broken. It wasn't just a few. It was all of them.
A handshake used to be a traditional binding contract. Now it's not. Even if you give someone tobacco to come, they won't even be there. But I will. When they give me tobacco, I'm there. Socially, we're in the lower class, lower class.
And that would be just based on money.
Yeah. Blood quantum, the only race with numbers to identify much American Indian was Indian we are. There are only a few full bloods left, and that's what I was telling my grandkids. Like my granddaughter, she was with a non-Indian, and now she can't get her two kids enrolled because they don't have enough Indian blood, and
Hmm.
and I remember I was taught to when I was a kid or growing up that marry your own kind, marry your the Indian, or else your kids are gonna not be able to be enrolled because
Yeah, because of the blood quantum.
yeah. So them are the only two of my grandkids that are not enrolled, and
And it's not just an economic or status thing. It's just a life decision. Can't remember where I was going with that, but when you mentioned it, I was like, oh yeah, I don't want people thinking that it's just a status thing. That we want to be, because there's a lot of misconception out there that, oh yeah, we get special treatment or anything like that, and it's not special treatment. It's everything that was guaranteed in a treaty. And the treaties are international. I mean, kings and queens, they sign treaties between themselves and France or Germany or whoever call themselves a sovereign. And so government to government relations, and the definition of sovereignty or being a sovereign is that there's only you and the creator or God in their viewpoint. So when we maintain our sovereignty, this was guaranteed by these treaties, but we are sovereign entities. Um, that way of doing business was always upheld all the way up until probably the 1950s when they started changing them. And so that's why nowadays we got what compacts and things like that. So um, we're outside of the treaty era, and but you know what? Those treaties are law of the land, and that's the way um, they were viewed or they were expressed, or and when we go out there and we fight for our treaty rights, we're just we're just fighting for what is the law of the land, you know and I don't think people really get that concept of how this country came to be. But if it wasn't for Native American, and I don't just mean the wampum belt and all that kind of stuff, I mean we basically um, created or helped form the small claims court. We brought all of these issues to the forefront and they were taken to the court system. So that's how our court system came to be, and how they were able to sort out a lot of these issues as far as Indian white relations, let's call it that. So I think people have to understand a lot of that um, that sovereignty issue, and I think it's important that people accept that Native people. Well, I saw this the other day. I think it's a rap band or a rap group. They call themselves the landlords of the United States of America. And I used to joke around like that back when I was going to college. I'd say, you know what? We are actually the landlords. Indian people are the landlords. And I always tease my non-native friends. I said, and the rent is due. So it was just something that knowledge that I came upon. Of course, there's a lot of like Vine Deloria and other scholars that and lawyer types that have kind of pressed the envelope as far as our treaties and taking them to court. And of course, a lot of it, the United States itself doesn't want to settle it, so they take it out of court. And the reason why they do that is because it's instead of giving us the full amount of what's due. They're giving us deals that are pennies on the dollar. That's why a lot of people did talk about Obama and how he took care of that Cobell case.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, you're just giving it away." You know, they owe us 100 times more than what we're going to get in that little $1,400 check. You know, it should be each person should get like over $1 million. You know, each Native American, and so that's what he was able to do was negotiate that, and we took it. You know, I mean, there's a majority of Indians that got that $1,400. There's some that never cashed it. You know, and those are the ones that are holding out, and hopefully they're successful someday where they, they get the full effect.
There's a lady I'm talking to. She's coming up June 10th. She wants me to help her make a map with the Indian words on there.
Mm-hmm.
It's from Crane Lake, and she told me that there's land up in Crane Lake that they can't use because it belongs to Bois Forte.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And she said nobody even knows. I don't think nobody knows about that land or anything. She said, but that's they can't. They're making a park or something, and they can't touch that land because this old lady that's still alive there knows that land belongs to Bois Forte.
Yeah.
So I said somebody should look into that.
Right. Well, Jay would be the best person, I think, to let him know to look into it. But I mean, there's all kinds of pieces of land that are out there that
nobody knows about.
Well, they were kind of swindled too, and you know, like they would pretend to be your friend, do stuff for you, and then you know, Indians being the nice people that we are, we say, oh yeah, go ahead, you know, you can settle on this land, you know, and then boom, they take it over, and then it's supposedly no longer Indian land.
You know, it's Chippewa, Ojibwe, and Anishinaabe. We all should be Anishinaabe. We have our own language, customs, and traditions. Anishinaabe means we were here first. That's what it means, Anishinaabe.
Mm-hmm.
No one knows which one they are. And when we wrote this up, there are only 12 to 14 fluent speakers left on Bois Forte. No one is willing to learn the language. Learning the language will get our culture back because people will start asking the elders in our language what went on back then and what happened to ceremonies. I will be retiring next year. Who will teach our Head Start children? What will happen to the culture teachings? This is my biggest concern. What will happen? Will the children get any traditional teaching that they identify with? Now that Mizanobi Tangi Maja went, now another fluent speaker is gone. So really there's only me, Celia Gonyer, and
Gonyer.
Jenny Windfrog.
Gonyer too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Joe Delano. So should we take a
Yeah, we can take a break. All right. So anyhow, you're listening to the Karen Drift Anishinaabemoin language show right here on KBFT. And let's see, I'm going to update you on maybe the weather and some other events that are going on. And let's see. Okay, currently in beautiful Nett Lake. It is, that didn't go very well. Last time we were sitting at 50 degrees and we brought it up a degree here. We're sitting at 51, your dew point is 47, your humidity is 89, your pressure is at 29.8. inches of mercury. And let's see, your winds are out of the west at 3 miles per hour. Your visibility is 3 miles. And let's see, your normal average for this time of May is 69 degrees, and your average low is about 41. I think we were a little bit cooler than that last night because, yeah, it was. Okay, so we are going into the second part here, and glad to have you aboard. We are just getting back from our Nibish Makade Mashkiki Wabu break. That's where we freshen up our tea and coffee. So we are ready to roll again. Glad to have you tuned in on this nice, I don't know what you want to call it, nice rainy day. Yeah, that's always good, especially if you're a duck, right? Ducks love this weather. I don't know if they love it in the spring, but I know they love it in the falls. Probably the same thing. Shishib.
Give me one. Geese, you got no go.
Getting hungry thinking of Shishib Naboob.
Give me one. Geese, you got no gum. Rainy day today. Give me one. Geese, you got no gum. Can you say that? Give me one. Geese, you got no gum.
Give me one. Geese, you got no gum.
Rainy day today. I wrote a thing yesterday about Boys and Girls Club. I'm glad the young mothers are asking teachings for their young kids. First time this has ever happened. A young mother came and gave me Sama to go to the Boys and Girls Club at 3:00. How it was long ago and now. Little kids can't sit for long, but these ones really sat good all through away away oshke mama we great to make kiki ki away ki kito away binuchiak. Yeah, ki kito. I said yes. Ani the P when the sweet bike neck ki kito. She said 3:00. Oh, miigwech and ki kito. Thank you, I said. Nigiwabame the sweet bike neck. I'll see you at 3:00. Huwag iminig sama. She gave me tobacco. And we had a special moment at the end of our day for learning and sharing about games passed down to the community. We had a visitor for Dan Ningham. I think, that's a big Ginuzi away. Nini. Big tall man. Ginuzi. Look at how tall he is. They said, you look just small by him. And he stayed for about an hour. We're talking about old games like Naba'o, the dish game, moccasin game, and squaw hockey. But I don't think they call it squaw hockey today. They probably give it a different name because of they ended that squaw hockey squaw word years ago. But that's what they used to call it. And we gave him a gift and he gave us a gift. He gave me a squaw hockey thing, but not with the stick. I can make my own stick, and we can probably try that game. That's all we need is two little pool sticks, and that's all we need is that one. And 4 ladies or 4 girls on each side can play against each other. And I think my kids, when my grandkids were at my house, they bought a little bitty pool table, and I think I still have them them pool sticks. We can try to play a game, bring it to wherever. But that's this. He's coming back here to do some games at Dan Ningham. He's bringing his wife. His wife is from Red Lake, and they have they have different language than we do. Because I was talking Indian to him, and he would ask me, he knows a lot of our language, but he got his own language. Can't remember where he's from. Oh, he told us, and just like me, I can't remember. He is somewhere in Wisconsin. He's what kind of Indian is he? He told me. And
They got Menominee over there.
yeah, I think that's what he is. Then I put on their watch. Eziga are out. Eziga is a wood tick. Somebody said they went walking and they come back with 10 wood ticks crawling on their clothes.
Oh,
Wow, Eziga. That's how you say wood tick. Eziga. Eziga. Then we had a feast with Ryan. During our sugar bush feast, students shared stories about the harvest. Incredible sharing. The students 8 to K through 6, they prepared the giveaway, set up the powwow on top of the processing all the sap alongside. Me, so proud of them and their passion for learning these traditions. And me and Hard, they took pictures there, and they gave away a little bottle of syrup. Everybody, all the people that were there got a little syrup, and then they gave boogie. And I did a little talk on how we used to go help at sugar camps when we were little kids. We used to go gather wood, pile the wood, help. We mostly get like dry wood where they could start. We go peel weegawas off the tree, birch trees, and we bring them like fill up a little thing of little bag of weegawas, and we would bring it to the fire so that they could start fire right away in the morning. And we used to just like to be around there because everything was in the woods and it smelled good in the woods. Fire smelled good, burning, sap cooking. Oh, we were only about 8, 9 years old. And it was just like at the end of the camp. That's what they would do. They would have the ceremony right in the woods where they were making zizabak, Anishinaabe zizabakud. That's Indian sugar. And we used to, before they, even like the wild rice, before you eat the rice, you had to have a ceremony. So right after their first make, and that's when everybody would sit down and have we'd drink some syrup, we'd drink it, and then they would make sugar. We'd put it on our wild rice or whatever kind of berries they would have out there, dried strawberries or blueberries or whatever. And it was so good out in the woods then. It was like everything was all made. It was all the grass was trampled down and the fire was going, and we'd stay there all day sometime. and just sit around and be helping. Well, we wouldn't sit around that long. And the boys would be out there. They had, I don't know where they had about four little hatchets, like um, they called them wagakud. That was an axe. Wagakud is an axe. And the boys liked them little bitty tiny, so they could go out in the woods and like cut down little. I remember Justin and Gillig and all them, Kenny and Gail, Squeak, Herb, all a lot of them. Just they'd all go down there. Roger, they'd they'd take turns using them little wagakud, and they'd bring dry wood to the fire. Sometimes they'd get lazy, timshki, and there'd only be like two boys out there, and me, Clara, and Sarah would always be out there all the time, so we like to go back there in the woods. And somebody brought up the mermaid clan, the mermaid and water spirits. It says the mermaid and water spirits nations gave Anishinaabe a medicine. One of the medicines that was given to us was copper. Mishi Biju, Mishi Biju honored woman for the power they bestowed to bring life into the world. It was that life blood. It was that life blood, a connection to the spiritual world, into the physical world. Water is sacred in all of us and is one of our four elements. Nanabushu fell in love with a water being, a mermaid. The story is told in our communities and within our water ceremonies that the women held. It was the women that gave us these items. They brought these things into the world. The big drum, the hand drum, the pipe, and the rattle. I was told by an elder years ago to have water and also medicine as you sleep. Take these as you travel through dreams are received. Let's open our mind and let's retell the stories of our people and also those beings in the water. Let's open our homes so they can dwell within our hearts, that we honor the spirit, the life of our people, because we're all related. We're all lowered down from the sky world to the earth. Ogima, O, who wrote this is Oginaweb. Ojibwa clan customs, the mermaid clan. Bowana Bikwe. The artwork below is done by John Williams. And I remember hearing stories about the mermaid a long time ago. And with this water, that's the only time I use water in the ceremonies when I'm giving a name. Uh, when I start giving an Indian name, I have like a big glass of. I used to use lake water. I boil the lake water and boil it really good. Then I'd let it cool off and strain it and keep it in the refrigerator till it was nice and cold the night before I was going to name a person. And then during the ceremony, we had to pass the water around so everybody could take a drink. Even if it was a little baby, a little tiny baby, you'd have to give like maybe a little drop. Maybe the mother would put that her finger in the water and they put it in the baby's mouth. And I still do that when I give when I even big person. They have to drink. Everybody has to drink water with the name. But I can't really remember this mermaid story my grandma used to tell, and but she said the last time somebody saw a mermaid was on, I can't remember which big lake. She said it was I then they never had mermaid clans up this way, up toward our way. They used to have deer clans, but not anymore. Moana Beak, that was at.
Did you ever see? Somebody sent me a picture of a mermaid sculpture. I don't know what it was, but it's on. It's in the lake. It's probably about on a rock, and I don't know what the reason that it was there, but that's up in Fort Frances,
Mm-hmm.
I do believe.
Oh.
But yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't like really detailed, so you could see it or anything,
Mm-hmm.
the facial features or anything else. But it's just a woman with a fish body and her fins and that in her arms,
Mm-hmm.
and she's just kind of laying on her, not laying on her side, but got her arm down, and then she's perched up, looking out. I don't know if that's still there or not. Probably is.
Mm-hmm.
And what's crazy, what'd you say about copper?
It says
She gave, they used to taught us to use copper or something.
yeah. What does it say?
I think it was right towards the first paragraph or the first. But I just thought of that immediately when you said that because I do believe that sculpture is made out of, it's got to be made out of copper because it's got that blue
Mm-hmm.
tarnish on it.
Okay.
I'll have to look at.
Boanabeque, that's at their Dam Boanabeque. That's the name of the what did I just say, the mermaid. Boanabeque Dam mermaid clan. The mermaid and water spirits nations gave the Anishinaabe medicine. One of the medicine that was given to us was copper. Bishibiji honored women for the power they bestowed to bring life into the world. It was a life blood, a connection to the spiritual world into the physical world. Water is sacred in all of us, and one is of four elements. Nanabushu fell in love with a water being, a mermaid. The story is told in our communities and within our water ceremonies that the woman held. It was the woman that gave us these items they bought into these things into the world. The big drum, the hand drum, the pipe and rattle. I was told by an elder years ago to have water and also medicine as you sleep. Take these as you travel. Through dreams are gifted and are received. Let's open our minds and let's retell the stories of our people and also those begin in the water. Let's open our homes so they can dwell within our hearts, that we honor the spirits, the life of our people, because we are all related. We're all lowered down from the sky. world to the earth. Ogimaswag, that's the name of that guy that's telling this.
Mm-hmm.
The artwork below just looked like it's done by John Williams. That's the artwork. I don't know if you can see that. Bawanabikwe.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how you say Burbank, Bawanabikwe.
Clay. That's like my dad. It sounds like something he would say. Well, not he would say, but he used to tease about. He'd say Bawana. Remember old Tarzan movies?
Yeah.
They call him Bawana, the Great White Hunter. I was watching something on there about what was it, TikTok or somewhere. There had Muhammad Ali on there, and he was saying, yeah, and down in Africa they had Tarzan. Tarzan's the only white man in Africa, you know, living among all the blacks, and he was the only one who knew how to talk to animals or something. But yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting how he put that, because that's kind of the qualities I think that they were always known for, coming in and trying to steal, you know, whatever the you know, like the mermaid and anything like that. I know that I mean, I wouldn't call it stealing. I would just say maybe they fit it into their own way, you know, like, oh yeah, there's Tarzan living out, you know, a white guy, you know, the only white guy out there, you know. So I thought that was funny.
Like a lot of these ceremonies, like that was done way back before even our time, before my mom's time, before my grandma's. They must have did their ceremonies just, you know, like I learned that from Mizzanobi tongue, you know. You know, I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot from, you know, all the old Indians, and doing. Somebody told me to put a penny in when I was doing names, and then this was a person that was Namia, and I said, no, you don't put a penny in there. You only, if you want to put a coin in there, put silver coins. That's what you should do. You should go throw your quarter and your dime and your nickel into the big tower along with your tobacco. Just go sling it out into the lake, because spirits like silver. Ningo kut nungom.
Still.
Yeah, ningo kut nungom. Wabanin nudin. That means south.
Wabanin?
Wabanung. That means.
Oh, Wabanung.
Yeah. Nudin. East wind. Satin. Let's see.
Wabanung Nudin?
Yeah. East wind. Or you could say Shawanung Nudin. South wind. Nungum south wind today. Or Nagabi Nung Nudin. West wind today. You can use the what do you call the 4 directions with whatever way the wind is blowing. Like Kiwe Dinunudin. North wind to Carson, it's cold. Gonna Butchki, give me one. I think it's gonna rain. Niki Nunda Omakaki. Niki Nunda Omakaki.
You heard the frogs?
Yeah, Minawa Gukuku. Dibikunk.
owl last night.
Yeah, they become. Minnow tagosiok. You see minnow in there. Minnow tagosiok.
Can't think of it.
Sound good. See, minnow is good.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, minnow.
tagosiok is good, sound good.
Oh, sound. Okay.
Oh, there's like the owl was making noise and the frogs were nagamook. They're singing nagamook. Ozawashko is blue. Gijikwe, that's what I named my little granddaughter. Blue sky lady. Ozawashko Gijikwe. See, that's you can use Ozawashko in anything. Ozawashko Gudas. My blue dress. Ozawashko Bagagiwan. That's a shirt. Bagagiwan. Ozawashko moccasinan, blue shoes, Ozawashko skijik, you got a blue eye.
How'd you say pants?
Ozawashko no, boozy, boozy, geez, but it's wagon, boozy. Oh, right. Help me.
Yeah, let me look here.
I'll think of it. I know it's wagon in the end. Not Bisco wagon. Boudier Guazan.
Boudier.
Guazan.
Guazan, yep.
Yeah. Boudier. Boudier. That's kind of tongue. Yeah, kind of tongue tying there. Boudier Guazan.
Ozawashko Boudier.
Guazan.
Guazan.
Which, how do you say childish play? Who represents childish play? What insect? Mimingwan.
Oh, butterfly.
Yeah, mimingwan, butterfly. Nimi-iting. Yeah, nimi-iting zaagi'igining. May powell. And then the little insects are manidu sun. See, you see manidu, their sun, little spirits, manidu sun. That's what they call any kind of insect. Manidusag. Nijwaso de Boiganek. Nijwaso de Boiganek. Nizibi Gishe. Minawajitun Makademiskiki Wabu. Gawi Niki Bakadeje Ba. Bama now Quake. Magisha Nipakade. Minawa. Give me one nungum. I said, I woke up at 7 o'clock. Nishwaso de Boiganek this morning.
Took a shower?
Yeah. CB Gishe. I made coffee and Niki Jitun Makadam Ishkiki Wabu. Jitun is made. Ni Jitun. Gawi no, not hungry in the Bakadesi. Gawi in the Bakadesi. Jeba. I'm not hungry this morning. Gawin ni Pakadesi Sheba Bama now Queg Magisha, maybe at noon. Magisha's
Maybe.
yeah. The Bakade, maybe I'll get hungry. Me and Awa give me one. It's raining, or maybe it's gonna rain, or it is raining. Me and Awa. No, give me one. Give me one nungum. Raining today. Nami agi shagat. What's Nami agi shagat? It's the day of the week.
Monday?
No, going.
Namiya? Oh, Sunday.
Sunday, yeah. Bungi Sina. Little bit cold. Bungi Sina.
So could you say how does it go? Atagay Dibikum? Like I'm going to the casino.
Oh,
Atagay Gamig.
yeah. Yeah, you could say Ni Disha.
Oh, yeah.
Disha.
Atagay Gamig.
Atagay.
Atagay. Okay.
Binchige Gijigut. That's how I say Saturday. But somebody says different. Mopping day, they say. But I say Binchige Gijigut Saturday. Cleaning day. See, when you Binchige. Kita Binchige. Nebawi Gabik. Clean your bedroom. You know. Or some people say it different. ZB, no. Gizibi na gane, that's wash dishes. Jeba nagizibi na gane. Jeba gizibi na gane. See, you see nagan in there.
Mm-hmm.
And ZB is wash. This morning I washed dishes. ZB is wash. Like, take a shower. ZB gije. You see wash again in there. ZB. ZB gije. Then when you wash your clothes, you say ZB ige. ZB ige.
I see here too. It says Ishkwa Janoki. Is it good?
Yeah, after work.
Oh, okay.
Ishkwa Janoki. What's that?
It says Saturday.
Oh, Saturday, yeah.
Day after work.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They have all different kind. Like I know in Canada, there where what's her name was from that Bushkagan lady. She used to say, did she say a squaw? No. She would say mopping floor day.
Mm.
And we would say being chige kishika cleaning day. Being chige.
Well, I think we're just about out of time here, so I just want to wish everybody happy graduation. Yeah, we got all kinds of students graduating this time of year, so congratulations on all that. I know Head Start's got their graduation happening here this afternoon, and yeah, want to extend our condolences out to the Thompson family who are in our thoughts, and want everybody else to have a great weekend.
Ikaw